So in that time, I had weapons to defend myself. Now the only weapon I got is my voice, but it's more powerful than a weapon.
Hi, I'm Danielle Moody, and I am so excited to bring to you a new series, the Changemaker series. At a time in our country when we are headed into a place of darkness, a place that is moving away from democracy towards fascism, it is more important than ever that we sit down with the critical changemakers that are putting their lives and their voices on the line to fight for justice. And in the opening of this series, I am so excited to be joined by the folks at the Creating Change conference in Las Vegas. Creating Change is a conference that the LGBTQ task force puts on each and every year to bring together movement leaders and activists from around the country to focus their energy on resistance. And today I'm excited to bring to you field organizer at the task force, Andrea Montanez. Andrea, I am so excited to be back in conversation with you today. You have had an extraordinary career. You have been one of Florida's leading transgender activists. You are a former Colombian narcotics officer who took on cartels and confronted opponents on the state and federal level to reclaim rights for your community. Your journey is extraordinary, Andrea, and I'm so excited to talk to you today. Can you share what drove you to step into this fight and how your past experiences as a narcotics officer in Colombia, as a trans activist in Florida, have shaped your approach to advocacy today?
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for getting me. Guys. Thank you to see you again. Uh, yeah, that's a great question. So when my past, yes, I did. I started my life as a um, special agent for an organization in Colombia that's similar than the EA and the FBI, and we were looking for the Medellin cartels. I'm talking about the 80s and 90s when it was horrible. I got too many trainings to be undercover, to be working with people, and when I moved to the States, past the time when I doing my transitions, I was never thinking I'm gonna come back to fight. I transitioned to be me. I transitioned to be happy. Actually, I transitioned as a federal officer because when I arrived to the States and I got my citizenship, I was TSA officer, and my last position was supervisor. And actually, I start transition over there and survive the first government of this and keep doing. However, I start to see injustice. I start to see how they treat the. Let me start a little more about me. I also an immigrant. I'm an immigrant from Colombia. So for me, that two intersectionalities is the maximum. It's so powerful. Be transgender woman and be a immigrant because
Mm-hmm.
that's more attacking communities in
Yep.
every moment. So that put me again in my fighting mode. I was quiet. I was, I wanted to survive, be happy. But when I start to see that injustice against immigrants and against the transgender community, and my transition started coming up, that internal voice came up again. That internal voice was a fighter before, because I don't want to tell all my history because it's going to take hours, but that's me when I was in my other life. In my other life, no, because it's the same life. I always the same person. Uh, so when I was doing that, that's because I believe in justice, I believe in people, but I also know who I was confused in myself. I know. So the history of my transgender, the beyond transgender is forever. It started when I was little one, coming to that career as a law enforcement. So Andrea was the person was following Pablo Escobar and finished to get him because that was the same human. What I learning and maybe it's helped me was a survive mode when I start
Mm-hmm.
transition because of course I was training to be undercover all the time. So I had too many identities. It's like you got an actor, an
Yeah,
actress, I was
right,
an
right.
actress. And actually I say that I retired my career as undercover the day Andrea coming out 100%. That's when I retired my undercover. But I always do it a custom. I learned in that with that process or how you can, yeah, you can lie people to try to get people in jail or to to play with it. So that teach me, that give me that power. I think for, like I always say, and I said you before, the transgender people has a magic. I got more
Mhm.
magic with that training I got because I can use that to be more powerful and to be an activist and I start to get my mouth so open. I remember I start to do a kind of double lie. So working with the government at that time and start to do activists and go to my first rally. I remember the first rally I got in Orlando was for the trans community. I was walking only to see that and somebody gave me the microphone. And that person, I don't remember who was, but that voice came from that, and now the microphone is on my hands every single day of my life. My voice coming up. That was in the news. So when I come back to work at the airport, I start to see in the news, say, "Oh my God, they're gonna fire me," because when you work for the federal, you cannot do this because
Right, right.
you have. So I say whatever. So I decide I resigned and I left and I started working with a small organization in Florida that was Q Latinx and I start to go to rallies and keep fighting always for the immigration and transgender part that involve Hot Community Center. That's when you met me because they had the
Mhm.
immigration part, know a lot with the LGBTQ, but we started working together. And that mean I wanna say yes, it's superpowers. Superpower is how you use your previous life. Uh, because it's always the same how I learning to also lose the afraid of fighting because that was crazy war. So in that time I had weapons to defend myself. Now the only weapon I got is my voice, but it's more powerful than a weapon.
I love that you say that the only weapon now that you have is your voice, and I pick up on so many of the things that you say about being transgender and that being a superpower. And I think that right now, right, as we are watching this really troubling rise in anti-trans legislation, the hateful rhetoric that we are seeing, we need people with superpowers like yours and the voice like yours to be able to fight against, right, these oppressive forces. What do you see, Andrea, as the most pressing challenge for the trans community right now, and what role do allies play in standing against the wave of discrimination that the community is faced with?
The more dangerous things I think happen for us in this moment is the education part, is the ignorance of the people, is the belief of people. I got so many experience learning how to talk with people don't know transgender people before. I don't look in my space. My space is not a bubble of the LGBTQ. My space is the ground with the farm workers. My space is go to a shore with all the people to listen about who we are. This is the space. This is the kind of allies is educate people, and the more dangerous is that people believe in that. I'm gonna tell you, I did some canvas for my job in North Carolina, and some of the people love how we're working together. They were no LGBTQ, they were farm workers, beautiful people fighting for us too. And they told me, people believe when you send your kid to school, he's gonna come as a guy, he's gonna come back as a girl at the evening. So people are ignorant. So they asked me, thank you for the space, thank you for teaching us, for educate us how we can learn about you. So that's the more danger because people hate something they don't know.
Right,
They're
right.
afraid of something they don't know. They're afraid of the magic. They're afraid of, I feel like the reason I say magic because it's in a good way, but it's like the witches hunter. Because when they burned the witches in medieval times, that wasn't because they were bad. That because they were so smart and they afraid of them. And that happened the same. So the more dangerous is that. So the best we have, I don't believe in allies. I believe in accomplices. That's the real we need right now.
And I love that because I think that I prefer the word accomplices to allies, right? I prefer the idea of having co-conspirators who are
Mhm.
fighting alongside you for justice. And I think that what you talk about with regard to having conversations, because it is people's fear, right, is flamed by ignorance, and ignorance comes because of a lack of connection, conversation, and education about communities that you may not be a part of. And so, another question that I have for you is, how do you approach these difficult conversations, let's say that you've had with members of the Florida Board of Medicine? What do you think it takes to turn even these small interactions with your opponents into progress?
Yeah, it's difficult, and I do it a lot. I try to do it. It's difficult because you see the hate in people, and like, but maybe you can change a word, maybe you can change a little, maybe you can change a smile, or maybe they start to respect you. With the boring medicine in particular, with one of them in particular, I start to approach to. Well, the first time I approached that person was we had a meeting in Jacksonville, and all the trans community were waiting in the coffee shop, and this person came to the coffee shop alone, and when we saw the trans people, he put the ice on the floor to try to ignore
Mm.
everybody, but he said, but I don't go nowhere. I want to take my coffee. So I approached and I say, hello, doctor, how was your day? Everybody was looking what she's going to do. He was surprised and he answered me. From there, I start to have conversation with the same person. Doesn't mean I change, but I'm going to explain what I did. So when I start to push him, and actually, one time I did that. I start to talk. He started talking about the medical terms, and he talking about because it's a castration. I say, doctor, it's not castration. It's orchiectomy. That's the medical term. No, it's castration. He said, doctor, you are a cancer doctor. If a male, biological male, cis male, has cancer, are you going to tell them you castrate them or you did orchiectomy?
Mm.
And I keep silent. That day he say in the Board of Medicine, when he talking about that, he say orchiectomy. So that's an advance. I don't say
Yeah.
it's a victory, but that put in his mind, shit, you know? so
Yeah.
so it's like, wow, I don't say I change nothing with that, but yes, it's some change. And people and another doctor start to approach and talk and start to asking more questions. And actually one time I did, and I got the picture, and you see it, I put him with the transgender flag, and I said, "Can we take a picture?" And he was with the trans flag, and he was with my sign I always bring. Trans is beautiful, and he got with that sign. And I post that in a magazine. I don't know if the scientist is gonna fire me, but I did that. So the people was, "Well, how you do that, Andrea? How you well?" And he was really smiling. So I don't know if he regretted it or not, but he did. So what I try to tell is I got worse enemies with weapons. So right now, again, I'm gonna get with your heart, your magic, your voice. You can change people a little, step by step. This is not a more positive moment in life, but I have to keep that positive. This is, I try to say you have to confront them. You have to ask questions direct. Don't afraid of them. Of course, they are kind of the enemy because they wanna. But you have to try to educate them today. No, at least they want to say, "Oh my God, look at this girl, give me a flag." And actually, he used the pronouns all the time with me. Never said that.
I mean, that's what change looks like,
Yeah.
right? Like that's what it means to challenge people's beliefs in real time and not be afraid. Had you not gone over to him when he put his head down, had you
Hmm.
just bypassed him, then he would have continued thinking the way that he thought. He would have
Yeah.
continued using language in the way that he did. And so I think that that is a really prime example of how you can meet people where they are, even though the conversations may be difficult, but how you meet people where they are to try and make advances. I want to play a clip if we can show that of you in action, which I think is extraordinary, and then I want to get your thoughts on the other side.
I understand this is a country for freedom. I fight for this country for freedom. So I don't need to ask permission to nobody. We don't need your permission to exist. Thank you. You don't have to be screaming and be an activist. You only have to be yourself. And that's important. Be proud of who you are. Be visible if you can. Because if you ask yourself, I'm talking about with everybody, why we are transgender when everybody hate us, when everybody want to destroy us, is because we really were who we are. We really
meet who we are.
Andrea, first off, I see that and I'm so overwhelmed with your power, with your magic as you call it. And rightfully so. And I want to ask you, there are so many different definitions of activism, and people have different ideas of what activism is and looks like. What does it mean to be an activist to you?
Yeah, this is a process to learning also, because I want to say that when I start the process, I was thinking scream and insult as the way. No, you had a moment. It's like I say, and I want to use the words with Miss Mayor, because Miss Mayor is my mentor, is my hero, and embrace the break, hold the brake. You had to use the brake maybe one time, but no, the brake is gonna be always your voice first. The activist is educate, no bring more hate. It's bring the smiles. It's bring a little. I'm gonna say sometimes, and I'm gonna say writing. When you got some of the news, when you read the comments, I got 1,000 comments insult me. Everything is hate, but I had one beautiful comment. You saved my life. That's enough for me.
Mm,
I work for that person. So activist is that one person. Activist is a movement. Is a creating chain. When I use the word, it's a chain. It's a chain. People, it's changers, leaders, and I want to use again word by Miss Mayor. In this moment of the life, we say activists is because we have to come back to the old activists. We are the oldest ones. We are. I'm ready to retire one day and had fun, but right now we have to keep fighting. We have to keep again that magic for the future generation. Right now, I don't fight only for me again. Like Ms. Mayor said, I don't fight for me anymore. I fight for the next generations. And that's the reason activists have to be that. The future. Activists is to make change. Is I guess it's an art, it's magic. It's not
it is.
it's how you do it, how you can change. Some people like it. Doesn't mean you have also to make accountable everybody. You're supposedly
Yeah,
alive, your accomplices, your politician, whatever party they are, you have to open them out to them too. So don't afraid for that. Don't be apologetical. I know apologetical. I love the word like say and you put that one. We don't need permission to exist. We are here.
we
And
are
we don't
here. My final question for you, because you emanate it, um, is that love seems to be such a central theme in your advocacy. How do you stay grounded in love while leading resistance against systems that often feel like they are unyielding? How does love play a role for you in building alliances?
I guess because I love myself, uh, it's afraid, it's a difficult time, but I'm happy who I am. And I see the happiness of the people when I'm next to you and when you say that positive. Because how you say, that's the reason I tell people how why you hate a community. And again, you put that video, so it's kind of repeat. When we see all the hate, when I wake up, I don't know if I'm going to go sleep. I remember the times when I was I'm going to compare again as a special agent. I don't know if I want to survive on one of the when we go to this arrest. In this moment, my best time is when I go to sleep, when I wake up, because I can smile again. And I know it's too much horrible thing, but it's too much beautiful people around. And have to be whole. We have too many years. This is not the first time. This is not the first
Mhm,
government of this
mhm,
person.
mhm.
This is the second time we survive. It's gonna be hard. It's gonna be rough times, but we need that love. We need the accomplices. We need the people open hearts. We need the people listen who we are. We are no, we are minority, but we are no excuse. We are no distractions. We are lies are in here, and that's it. Yeah.
Andrea, I thank you so much for the work that you do. You truly you embody what it means to be a change maker. And I cannot thank you enough, one, for making the time to join me today. But please tell people how they can get involved with the task force and where they can learn more.
Yeah, I mean, they got to go. The task force is First start is the 50 years organization. It's the oldest one, LGBTQ organization. It's a fighters. It's a creating change is going to happen the 22nd to the 26th. Go to the website and involve. We need support. We also doing community organizing online. We do it queer the boat program. So we are in the fight together. We need this is not only Florida. This is all United States. Everywhere is something. My base is Florida, but priority is the rest of the country, wherever they need us. Is trans, is immigrants, is LGBTQ, is people of color. We are together. The task force is a hope. We had a great group, completely different places. We had trans, we had non-binary, we had immigrants, we had everybody there together. And you can be in creating change. You want to see how we can do it, how we can support us. But we need all of you because it's hard time for us too. It's hard time for everybody. But we are a group. We're gonna keep together. Go to the website, see all the program we have, how you can support us because of course we need funds to survive like
Yeah.
everything. To they can pay me and they pay all of us and we can keep it fighting around. So yes, please support the chain and we are here and we don't think to go nowhere. We're gonna stay here all these 4 years fighting for all of us.
Thank you, Andrea. I appreciate you so very much.
Thank you.